Hello and welcome to the Outcast. I'm your host HC, and with me is.
Wolf.
And today, welcome to the We Hate Disney. I mean, trashing Disney. I mean, scolding Disney. I mean, the Disney live action discussion because we were kind of talking about it in the previous episode, and we said, why the fuck not? Let's talk about the Disney live action remake since they are a big source of infamy. And I don't know. I thought it would be fun to actually let the anger out because,
What? No anger.
well,
We love all of them. They're all great and wonderful movies that definitely aren't terrible at all.
n- now you see now you see why I was so surprised that we're or actually so bummed that we're not recording the pre-podcast talks because Wolf was singing in a very different tune.
I don't know what you're talking about. You have no proof, and I will deny.
Sure, let's see how this will go as the episode goes along. But basically, Disney. I don't think there's anyone here that doesn't know Disney and didn't grew up with at least one of their animated features. And I am kind of sad to say that there are probably people listening to this who grew up with watching the remakes and not the originals. Which, for the record, I'm not gonna take this away from you. If you like those remakes, then by all means,
No,
enjoy them.
no, I will take it away from you. You live in a sad, sad world. Get some culture. That's right. Get out of here until you have some culture. Then you can come back and we'll talk. Only having watched the live action remakes. Shame on you for being young.
Yeah, totally their fault. Totally.
No, like,
But,
you're right. If you love these films, great. I wish I could love them as much as some people do. And there
yeah,
are things about some of them that I do like.
I guess if there's
Minimal.
one really important thing to say before we actually start delving into this, I just want to say that I don't want to hate those remakes. I mean, the ones I've seen, right? I haven't seen all of them, and I have my reasons once we get to it. But those that I've seen and didn't like, it doesn't come from the fact that I want to hate them because this is not what I grew up with. What makes me not like them is that they don't do the original justice. Or, they either don't do the original justice or they change the most ridiculous things that make no sense or they don't change anything at all. It's
My
like you would think that somewhere along the lines they would find the right balance, right? You
mm.
would think.
Yeah, my issue with most of them is just that they were never going to live up to the originals in any way because
Yeah.
because again, like the animation is going to stand apart on its own because it can do its own thing, and those animated films were made to be animated films. The problem with
Mhm.
most of these films is that they're not made to be live action films. They're made to be remakes of those, and so
But
they just
the
don't
thing is,
change
you
enough
can
to
still,
work for
but you can.
themselves, right? Yeah, but
I get
I,
what
I
you're
get I get
saying.
you, but like in my opinion, I think you have like if you're going to do a live action film, you need to do there's pros to doing live action films. There are things that live action films can do that animation films cannot do, and there are things animation films can do that live action films cannot do. 100%. My biggest issue with most of these films is that they never take advantage of that. They just retell the same stories and that's it. And it's just not as enjoyable because there's just nothing they can do with it because they don't try to do anything with it. And that's the biggest disappointment, I think.
What's interesting though is if you go back to where this started, because this trend started. Oh my God! It started 13 years ago.
I mean, if you really want to go back, it started back in, way back in the 90s with the 101 Dalmatians, 102.
Yeah, but I don't. But you see, I don't really count that
Yeah, that's
because
fair.
it's not because with the 2020s, it's where it started to like really get
Yeah. Yeah,
because
Alice in
there was
Wonderland.
also Alice in Wonderland, which also you can. It's so interesting to see the decrease because, for the record, I will say that I'm not the biggest fan of the 2010 Alice in Wonderland. Like, what do you think about it?
It is okay. but it's also okay by Tim Burton standards, and I think that says a lot because I think you expect a bit more from Tim Burton. At the very least, they tried to do something different, right? It was very
That's
much a Tim Burton film, but
that's what's interesting for me because for the record, when I say I don't like it, it's not that I outright despise it. I more don't like what it set out to do than I don't then then just hating the entire thing in general
mhm,
because well, and for the I'm not considering myself like a big Alice in Wonderland aficionado, like be it the book, the Disney, the original Disney version, the the American McGee version. I
mhm.
am not an Alice in Wonderland expert of any kind, but the isn't the point of Alice in Wonderland is that when you really get down to it, there's no point to anything. Like when you really look at it, the magic of it is that there's no story. You are just following this little girl as she's going across those bizarre adventures, and and then suddenly you're turning this into a Lord of the Rings political war movie.
I mean, I'm okay with that personally because again, there is no way you go and look at like, hey, here's a picture of Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Here's a picture of, or here's a scene from Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. Here's a scene from the original animated Alice in Wonderland. Right? There is no way you look at both of those and say they're the same movie. Like, at the
Yeah,
very least,
the,
for me personally, it's like I'm not a big fan of it. I don't think it's a great movie, but I do at least respect the fact that they went so into left field with it
but
that it makes
that
no sense.
but that's also kind of my gripe with
Which, yeah,
honestly
I understand.
this entire series of films really. By the way, spoilers for the movies, not that you should care, but but the thing is, I don't mind the fact that they tried something new, and if you want to make it a sequel, then by all means, why
Mhm.
not? But my problem is that this is not a good direction for Alice in Wonderland, Tim Burton or not. Like
That's
just
fair.
from the basic side of things, like I said, why take a story that has at the core center of it no real point and try to give it a point with making this a war all of a sudden?
Because Tim Burton is an auteur.
Which you say that I'm not sure. That's another thing. I'm not sure how much of it is the director, how much of it is the studio.
Mm.
I don't know. But the other thing I mentioned American McGee. Have you played American McGee's Alice?
No, but I've heard a lot about it. I've heard it's probably one of the better takes on Alice in
Uh,
Wonderland, is what I've been told.
So so basically, the basic gist is that it's like a prequel to the books where Alice is like much older. She's in an insane asylum,
Yeah,
and
that
because
one. Yeah, I've heard.
yeah, and well, it's like a very dark and horror take
Yeah.
on the book, which basically shows that since Alice really went down mentally, Wonderland is like in shambles. And
Hmm.
so, and I think when people heard Tim Burton doing Alice in Wonderland, this is kind of what they had in mind. And not that they necessarily needed to do an adaptation of it, because I also heard that people tried to do an adaptation and it failed every time. But the point of the matter is, if someone did Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland better than Tim Burton, something's freaking up. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Completely fair. Again, I respect the attempt. At least they tried to do
Mhm.
something, but I do agree it didn't turn out great,
And
and the
for
things
the
they tried just
record,
did not land at all.
yeah. And for the record, I will also say this: like, if you just told me like you need to see through like maybe three of those remakes, and you have to watch it again, begin to end, and say, you know what, this will be one of the three I'll choose personally.
That's fair. I mean,
So,
again, it's always going to be a fun experience to a certain point, and then you get into like the hey, we're doing Game of Thrones stuff now, and then it's kind of downhill from there. But up until that point, I think it's a pretty decent Alice in Wonderland film. A decent Tim Burton version of, right? That kind of
So,
worked.
speaking of, have you seen the Through the Looking Glass movie? Because I haven't.
I've heard the name, but I don't remember.
Basically,
To
it's the
Google.
Through the Looking Glass is the sequel book to Alice in Wonderland. They made a sequel to this movie, to this particular version called that.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think yes, I've seen it. Yes.
I haven't. This was the point. At this point, I think I was done.
Yes, I have seen Through the Looking Glass, at least parts of it. It's been a long time, so like I remember it. I remember scenes from it, but I don't remember it well, so that probably says a lot.
Mhm. I haven't seen it, so no opinion. But from what I did hear, it's nothing like the book. To the point I heard people actually say, "Well, what's the point in calling it Through the Looking Glass when the actual Alice in Wonderland was more Through the Looking Glass than Through the Looking Glass?" And like so, I don't know. Bleh.
Fair.
So I think next people count Oz the Great and Powerful in those, but I don't know. It's Wizard of Oz was never an animated Disney movie.
All I'm gonna say is it's not. Wikipedia says it's not on the live action Disney adaptation list. So if Wiki says it, then I agree with the Wikipedia, because they would
Well, then,
never steer me wrong ever.
sure.
I've not seen that one, so I can't say too much on it.
I've
I've
seen it. It's boring.
Okay, I've heard it's like not bad, but that yeah, it's kind of meh.
Hmm. So I don't even say meh. Honestly, this is just nah. It's I didn't
That's
like
fair.
it. Like
I suppose the
who the
next one
fuck?
would be Sleeping Beauty then. Also one I have not seen.
Well, Maleficent.
Oh, Maleficent. That did come out first, didn't it? Yeah.
No, like Maleficent is Sleeping Beauty. It's
Oh,
the
yes, that is Sleeping. Yes, Maleficent. I don't know why I said Sleeping Beauty. Yes, Maleficent is the next one.
Okay,
Bleh.
you know what? Well, you said this blah. Is it because you've seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces of it. This one did not appeal to me.
I've seen it. At first, I was kind of like with the Alice in Wonderland thought of like, it's not good, but I respect it for the idea, even if the idea is done.
Hmm.
I respect what it was to do. But then the more I thought about it, is the after I left the theater, the more I started to despise this movie. This movie sucks.
I mean, again, I hate to say it because, like, again, like with Alice in Wonderland, at least tried to do something new.
Well,
But
that's the thing.
yeah, it
When,
was
when I say try something new, I don't, I respect that if it does, but if it fails, it's a bad movie. And it fails on, honestly, a basic level, because, okay, I get the idea. They're trying to do the Wicked thing, right? You know
hmm
Wicked.
yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, so you're trying to do the Wicked thing, but it's kind of hard to accept a Wicked type story with a character that her name literally means evil. Let's start with that. Two, what made Wicked work is that it tries to humanize the Wicked Witch of the West, right? It gives her a name, it gives her a backstory, it shows us her life, like what made her go bad, right?
Hmm.
And Maleficent attempts to do that, but the solution it kind of finds is that Maleficent is actually not really evil. Everyone in the Sleeping Beauty story is just a dick.
That is right. Yeah, I remember. Oh god, yeah, that was not a great idea.
No, like because so the Maleficent's tragic backstory is that she apparently had a thing with Aurora's father since they were kids, and then one day he betrayed her by cutting off her wings, and he became king. So that's why she arrives at the birthday party, and that's why she curses, Aurora.
Hmm.
It's like they're kind of and they're trying to present the father, the king, Aurora's father. They're trying to present him as like this, tragic bad guy. I don't give two shits about this asshole. Let him die. Burn him. Who cares about this asshole? And then they have the fairies, the good fairies who are supposed to take care of Aurora. They're three dumb bitches who I wouldn't trust with running. I don't know, but I wouldn't trust them with a human life like they trusted them with Aurora. Like, this movie, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, right? The reason it worked with Wicked is no one else was made. Like, you didn't turn the, quote unquote good characters evil to make her feel better, right? To make her more appealing to the audience, right? Maleficent, they couldn't come up with a reason to make her like more appealing to people and to make her like, oh, she's not that bad. Here, it's jumping ahead a bit, it's kind of the same what they did with Cruella. It's just, hey,
Oh, I haven't seen that one, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that
uh,
because that was actually hilarious.
but yeah,
So,
like they turned everyone else into the film into also a dickhead and also an asshole, except maybe Aurora, I believe, and that's it. But
yeah, because and then again, and then you have Aurora, who is honestly probably besides Maleficent, she's the nicest character in this damn movie. But again, it doesn't really fix the one problem that Sleeping Beauty actually had, and that's that Aurora, the Sleeping Beauty herself, is pretty bland again. So she's just like pretty girl who smiles and all right, sure. Okay, whatever you say.
yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, but so it's just all of those things that kind of they try to give this something new. They try to give it this wicked spin, but it doesn't work when you make everyone else an asshole. And then to kind of add insult to injury, I know that people would like say, "Oh, just because one movie did it doesn't mean another can't." But they won for one ripped up Frozen with the entire True Love's Kiss.
I mean, Sleeping Beauty had that in the first place, though. So
No, no, no. So, for the record, what happens in Maleficent is that, they say that, a true love's kiss will break the spell. So the prince kisses Aurora. She doesn't wake up because guess what?
oh
They,
yeah,
they can't,
okay.
they can't fall in love in such a short time. Dopey dope. So now Maleficent gives Aurora this like platonic kiss on the forehead, and that wakes her up. Gee, have I seen this in a Disney movie before? One that made $1 billion and was a cultural phenomenon?
Yeah, but
Hmm.
but
And
HC,
again,
but but HC,
yeah.
Frozen bad.
No, it's not. No, it's not. You're okay. I get that some people don't like it. I even have some friends who don't like it. That's perfectly fine. But you know something? But you know what? If they're gonna do the exact same thing that Frozen did, like one for one, I'm gonna call it out.
No, that's fair. I think having seen Frozen, and I will admit I've not seen everything from Maleficent because I was very meh about it. Wasn't interested as much as I have been in a few others. So my
Yeah.
experience with it is very limited. So I will say I can't, judge it too harshly, but I will say if you do it worse than the animated film, than a different animated film by the same company even, I
Hmm.
think that says something about
Yep.
your priorities as a company.
Hmm. Like honestly, when they did this exactly when this thing happened, it was like exactly like Frozen. I was just face palming. I was just done. And then they framed the death of the king like it's supposed to be like dramatic or something, and I'm like, good, fuck him.
Fair.
Um, yeah, so I think that's Maleficent. I think after that was Cinderella.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And,
Have you seen? Have you seen? Have you
No,
seen
this
that
one
one?
was a big ol'. I've seen bits and pieces of it, but for the most part, big ol' skip for me.
So,
Listen,
okay, so
you're
I'll
gonna
say
find
this.
very quickly that my interaction with the live action films has been mostly morbid curiosity of I wonder how they
Believe
did this
me,
one or two scenes in live action, and then I find out they didn't do it
believe
well,
me,
and I'm like,
believe
oh,
me, we're gonna get there. But when Cinderella came out, you were talking about like two a very bold, very trying to find themselves in the world HC who needed to escape. And so I tried giving it a shot. And at the time it came out, I'd say I said it's the best one. Too bad it doesn't really mean anything. But if I'm gonna talk about why, I think it's one of the better ones. I'll say, okay, so it's the story of Cinderella, right?
mhm.
There's no like, oh, we are gonna focus on the villain this time, or oh, it's a sequel, oh, it's a prequel. It wasn't. It was the story of Cinderella, as you
Mhm.
know.
Mhm. Mhm.
But not even one, but like a few things I appreciated is that we actually got, you know, how do I say this? They actually tried to expand on the plot of the original movie, right? They
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
to give a bit more because in the original Cinderella, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I go by
Mm.
memory here. But if you remember in the original animated movie, the entire backstory of with Cinderella's father and why he married the stepmother to begin with, that's told to you via narration, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like there's a narration. This is like catching you up. This is what you need to know. Movie starts. So in the remake, you actually get the backstory. You even see a bit of Cinderella's biological mom for a bit. And you also see the father's reasoning to marry the stepmother and everything. That's not a bad idea. And I would even say it's executed all right. And and I'll also say that Kate Blanchett plays the mother really well.
Yeah, I remember seeing scenes of her like doing really well as playing the mother that were good.
Which, by the way, as How to Train a Dragon fans, man, I couldn't stop imagining Volca in these scenes, but whatever. So, anywho, so we have this, and also what's another thing in Cinderella that does that it's not really done extremely well in the original, the prince, right?
Hmm.
Like the prince is freaking bland. Yeah, I think it's even the same prince from Snow White. He's just dressed different. You can tell me that it's not the same person. It's not the same person. So they actually develop the prince too. They have more interactions before the ball, after the ball. There's time to develop their romance, and there's also time to develop the prince as a character. I also enjoyed his bodyguard, but the bodyguard is also an actor I like from another show. So there's that, and and all those things. But it's just a bland movie. At the end of the day, it's still a bland movie. And the thing that kind of kills me the most is that guess what's the one thing that the remake does worse than the original? Even, forget the even, just ask me. What's the one thing the remake does
I don't
worse?
need to ask. It's Cinderella herself.
Right.
I know this one. I'm aware. I'm
Yeah,
hip to
you're
culture from 2015.
fair enough. Yeah, but here's the thing. But do you know that's the thing that for the record, Cinderella in the original isn't that great a character,
I
right?
believe I mean no, she's fairly bland and fairly one note. But again, like these films were made back in the 1950s,
Hmm.
things hadn't like and that's not necessarily an excuse. It's just I don't think like they weren't as big of a company at that point, I believe, and they were still figuring things out, if you will,
And
right?
films were also very different back then,
Yes, and shorter
especially
too, I believe as well.
yeah. But Here's the thing. So you have this original which was made a long time ago, and you have this remake which is not even 10 years old at this point. So and yes, obviously things change, but one of the things that change is that obviously you have stronger, for not to make the stereotypical, independent woman who needs no man thing, right? But we have such stronger female characters by 2015, even from Disney. Again, we had Frozen at the time. We had Brave. Moana was just a year from coming out. You started getting Tangled too. You started
Mhm.
getting this push by this point, right?
Yeah.
And then and then like you get this updated Cinderella, and they keep thinking about how this Cinderella is like more independent and more all of that bullshit. But when you get to the point but you get to the movie itself, she's worse than the original, because the original, for all intents and purposes, she still kind of fought for what she wanted, and
Yeah, and this one she kind of just rolls over.
yeah, like when the mother locks her in the attic by the end of the movie, she bangs on the door. She's trying to get out. She's trying to. This one, she just sits down and sings, praying for a miracle.
I mean, hey, singing, it's worked for me. I swear.
Did it?
No, I can't sing. Why would it work for me?
Hmm.
You hear how I sound? I couldn't carry a note even if I wanted to.
Well, I'm happy to report that I suck at singing just as much as you do.
But I mean, yeah, it's. I remember when it first came out, a lot of, or not too long after it came out, a lot of people talking about how they walked away from the film, or a little while after it, like maybe a couple months after when it released on DVD, stuff like that or whatever. That a lot of people walked away from it feeling like they enjoyed the stepmother more than they did Cinderella, or they enjoyed the prince more than they did Cinderella, not Cinderella's character
And
herself, especially the stepmother. I
yeah,
think she got a lot of praise at the time.
yeah, I like her because again, Kate Blanchett is a great actress. But
Well,
honestly,
yeah, but I mean, like they enjoyed this rendition of her the most, is what I meant, right?
I didn't hear that, but but again, the other thing I just want to bring up with Cinderella is that again, this was like really pushed, that this is a stronger Cinderella, this is like a more independent Cinderella, and then you have like this thing which just kills me, that one of the changes that they did to make to make Cinderella like more independent, is that apparently the stepmother and stepsisters just allow her to leave the house whenever she wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like she can go to the market, she has friends, she can just, let go out to the wild, which is where she meets the prince and all that shit.
Yeah.
She can even just move. People actually offer her to get out of this house. But she says that she's not doing it because she wants to respect her father's memory. Which to in one sense I will say fair. But then guess what? The prince shows up, says, "Hey, I want to fuck you," and she moves to the castle and marries him. What happened to your father's memory, you dumb little bitch, huh?
I mean, did
What
you see the
happened?
prince? I don't blame her.
For all intents and purposes, no, this is not an excuse. This is not a freaking excuse.
I don't know what you're talking about. If a prince came up to me and said, "Hey, move in with me. I want to fuck you." I mean, all right, cool. I'm down.
Oh,
Let's go.
I
I'm easy though.
I have no comment. Yeah, I think it's
Listen,
been
any
a
princes
while,
out
but
there listening? I'm open.
um, sure.
What did you
Hashtag
expect
love
from me
hers.
in this episode of all episodes?
I,
Seriousness? You think I'm gonna give Disney live action remakes by Disney seriousness? Fuck you, Disney.
Well, what did you expect in an opera? A happy ending?
Maybe.
I know, I know it's not Disney, but that's what you reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Also, Bugs Bunny is better than Mickey Mouse. Come at me. Anyway, I don't have anything to say after this. What came after Cinderella?
The
I
Jungle
think that I
Book.
think
I like
that
this one.
haven't seen it
You haven't seen this
actually.
one? I enjoyed this one just because it was, this one didn't really do a lot different. It was very faithful, but I feel it was faithful in such a way that it at least, you know, it used its CG and the live action nature of itself to tell a story that was overall very good, and it lended itself well to what it did for the characters. Like Shere Khan, I believe his name is, right?
Yeah,
I,
the tiger.
yeah,
Yes.
it just it made him better in a lot of ways. It made, like, the CG is not great. I feel like, and you'll hear this complaint.
Not right. Like one of the things I've seen for is that the CG is really freaking good.
I mean,
But
it's
all right.
what I mean is like it's not great in the sense that I don't believe, like with the Lion King, they didn't really use it to show as much emotion as the animation does with its characters, right?
Uh, okay, I guess I can get it.
Like,
But
that's what I mean. But like,
well,
no, it is really good CGI.
interesting.
But
Interesting you say that though, because same director for one, and two. At least with the Jungle Book again, I haven't seen it, but I assume what can at least help carry it there is that you have a human, you have Mowgli.
mhm.
The one thing I know about this one is that people would confuse it with the Andy Serkis Jungle Book that later came to Netflix. So
Not the same
there's
thing.
that. I know it's not the same thing, but
No, I know. I'm
but
just
I think,
saying.
but one of the reasons that the Andy Serkis one went to Netflix is apparently because the Disney one became such a big hit.
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
which sucks, but hey, what can you do?
But no, but like
Some-
I really enjoyed this one. I think out of, if you're gonna ask me, hey, you have to do a rewatch of at least, like we said before, 3 live action Disney films, this would probably be on my list. Like, this is one, like, yeah, I'd rewatch this one. It was good. It was decent. Like, it's one of the ones that, yeah, it didn't do anything different, but it used its live action nature to its advantage to tell the same story, but in its own way, and did it really well in its own way. Compare that to some of the other ones we'll go over that did the exact same thing but just failed miserably.
And I think one of them is up next because I think the next one is Beauty and the Beast.
Yep, because we've already gone over Alice Through the Looking Glass somewhat, and
Yeah, I again
eh,
haven't seen it, but
it
so
was Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty.
The
Fuck this movie. 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 Fuck this movie.
I mean, the biggest problem, right, is you have you have such great actors and actresses in this one, but you just give them nothing.
And forget giving them nothing. They are also completely miscast. Like, and because Emma Watson is a great actress, I think I can, Harry Potter aside, right?
Hmm.
She's also
Yeah,
a
she does
great
great.
actress and everything.
Yeah, agreed.
But she is not a good choice for Belle.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
She is not a good choice for Belle. She can't sing. She's just ugh. Like this. And the other thing, so and again, like the other actors too, like for the record, the CG on the Beast isn't awful, but the actor, I just don't feel him. I just don't feel his delivery. I don't
Mhm.
feel the emotions. I don't feel anything.
Fair.
Did you actually see this one, or
I've
do I
seen
need to
bits
tell
and pieces, but no, I've not seen all of this one, so I can't say too much. Like,
you?
I've
Okay,
seen
so
some of the stuff with, like Ewan McGregor as Lumiere and a few other things.
oh,
That,
by the way, the designs on those things are freaking horrifying.
yeah,
For the
I've seen that too. That's another
Like,
reason why I don't blame anyone who doesn't want to watch it, and might be one of the reasons why I didn't want to watch it, because I don't need more nightmare fuel. I don't need
like
another,
listen,
sleep
the one
paralysis
thing that
demon.
I haven't seen this in theaters, right? I haven't seen this in theaters.
Oh,
I
I can
avoided it.
imagine.
I saw this at home because, believe it or not, my VFX professor told us to watch it as homework. Somehow watching a movie for homework was was just as painful as actual homework. Believe it or not, it can happen. But but I was watching it, and the BL guest sequence actually ends with just a cut to black because they were like for so damn sure people were gonna clap by the end of it. I'm not joking. You agree? Good. Let's move
I
on.
mean, I have
So
nothing to add. It's just.
so question about the original for you for a second.
Mhm.
What's during the Bell song sequence? What's the one thing about Belle that's different from everyone?
All right, so it's the original animation,
The original movie.
the original movie, and what's different about Belle from everyone?
Yeah, like in the song sequence for Belle, when they introduce
Oh, it's
Belle
been
and
so
she's
long.
what
You're asking me a question. It's been like over 20 years.
well, so short answer, she's the only one wearing blue.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
why did they do that? So to help her stand out, because that's the point of the song. It's supposed
Hmm.
to show you that she's an
Different.
outcast.
Yeah,
She's different. She's not like all the other people in the village.
yeah,
And then in this movie, during the song sequence, there are a bunch of other people's wearing blue. And on the one hand, you can say, that's you nitpicking. But you not know, fuck you if you say that's nitpicking, because that just shows how much on autopilot this entire thing is. And it gets worse because I assume you know this. You remember near the end of the movie, why does the beast let Belle go?
Oh God, why are you asking me these questions from a movie I've not watched in almost
Come
20 years?
on, Wolf. Come on, Wolf. You've seen the movie. You know
I've seen it.
because
I've only seen it once, and it's been a long time ago.
well, basically, Belle finds
You can't
out
ask
that
me these questions. I'm old.
yeah, but Belle finds out that her father is sick, so the beast allows her to go to take care of her father, right? Like near the end.
Yeah,
Okay?
yeah, yeah.
So, so in the original, this is one of those tearjerker moments, right?
Yes,
I'm not
yes, I
saying that
remember.
I personally crying that, but it's one of those, when she said it, she finds out she's crying, she's devastated, and you see the beast. You see his face. You see that he's torn. You see that he thinks to himself, I should let her go. I should let her care for her father. But he also knows that if she leaves, he won't see her again. And that breaks him because at this point, they have actually grown stronger together. They actually developed a romance
Yeah,
against all odds. And you see him knowing that letting her go is the right thing, but he does it anyway. You see, like it's just like a minute of animation, but you see the pain,
yeah.
you see the torture. In the remake, it's not, my father is sick, you must go to him. Wait, hold the fucking phone. What happened to the emotion of the scene?
I mean that's all the emotion you need,
No, it's
apparently.
not. It's not because like this is literally showing that
Yeah,
Disney just thinks they can sell you with nostalgia. If you feel something in that scene, that's because you had leftovers from the original. Which fair, the original is a great movie, but wow, that's like the one thing that pissed me off so much. I was ranting to people after that one. That just broke me.
I think it also shows from everything you've been telling me, right? It also shows that Disney doesn't even understand their own films.
Either
That
they don't understand or they don't care.
probably mostly column B, but a little bit of column A too. Let's be honest.
Mhm. Yeah, or at least or at least the people, and not necessarily Disney themselves, because management changes, the people change, obviously, and the live action and animation departments are different. So
Mhm.
I guess I want to say that it's just people who don't really like the not to say that they don't like the movies, because I'm sure there's some sort of admiration there, but how do I say this without coming up as pretentious? But like it's blind love. They love them because they grew up with them. They don't love them because of all the effort and all the passion and all the stuff you notice in a movie afterwards. And this leads me to like the not to necessarily you know what, I'm saving this for later. I just want to say another thing about the plot itself, which is a change which I don't get. In the original movie, it's implied that if the beast doesn't learn to fall in love, until 16th birthday and everything, then the everyone would stay furniture, but at least they would be alive.
Yeah.
And then in this movie, it changes it so that no, they just die. They just freaking die if he doesn't.
Sounds about right.
Uh, you say that, but then I'm also
No, I mean, it
thinking,
sounds about right coming from this film that they couldn't do anything different or better.
yeah, but and this like people say, well, that's like it was in the original fairy tale, and I'm saying, well, sometimes things should be changed in adaptations, because if all of them are in a danger of life and death, if it's a matter of life and death, then Belle just comes out as a bit of a bitch for just taking her time with the beast. And also, it's not like they're hiding it for her. She's fully aware. So, if they're trying to force her, it doesn't work because they tell her the reason. And if it tries to be like from them trying to save them, then obviously she's not gonna fall in love with a person because they told her fall in love with him.
Hmm.
It's it comes across as so weird, and also I know that the witch is blaming, trying to teach the prince a lesson, which is why she turned him into a beast. But at the same time, what did the other people do?
Oh, you're
And
asking
then
me.
you know, and then there's also the ball scene. One of my favorite moments in Disney history is that when they have the dance at the ball, and there's this point where Belle puts her head on the beast's chest, and he's looking up to Lumiere, and the guy is like smiling, like, I got this. And they show him like, yes, you did it. And this is cut. That's out of the movie. And it all comes down to people. Again, when I say that, people could say, oh, I see, you're just nitpicking. You're saying all this. You know what? No, fuck you. This is not nitpicking. Even if it is, the nitpicking is important here. And you know why? Because the original Beauty and the Beast was the first animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. It's
Mhm.
thanks to Beauty and the Beast that, say what you want about that award, thanks to that movie, we have the best animated feature category at the Oscars. Beauty and the Beast, the original, is a movie that meant something.
Mhm.
It changed something. It holds significance. And if a remake of it by the same company can't capture the same magic and the same thing that made it special to begin with, I'm gonna fucking call them out on it.
Fair. I think it's worth noting something too, right? It's around this point that, for the most part, barring one, maybe two exceptions, you start to see the Disney live action remakes take a very different tone than what they have previously. Like previously, other than the Jungle Book, like Cinderella, fairly different to a degree. It tried to do things a little bit differently. Fell flat, but it tried. Maleficent, same thing. Fell flat, tried. Alice in Wonderland, fell flat, but tried. After Beauty and the Beast, like, Beauty and the Beast pretty much starts the trend of very little has changed, or the changes they do make actively harm them because they're getting rid of some of the better things about the animated films, right? I do wonder if, like, the failures of, well, I mean, I don't know, did Maleficent really fail? It did get a sequel, I suppose.
What failed?
Maleficent. Did it really fail since it's getting a sequel? Since it got a
It did
sequel?
what it got. I heard that the sequel is one of those so bad it's good movies, but
Ah,
I haven't.
I've
I
not seen
don't
that one
care.
either.
Well,
But
considering
like,
how much considering I just displayed my burning hatred for the original, why the hell would I watch the sequel?
but I do wonder if like, trying to do things like Maleficent and Alice in Wonderland and them not turning out as well. I wonder if it scared them off because I believe Beauty and the Beast did really well in theaters.
It made $1 billion, as
Yeah.
far as I know. And Jungle Book too, for the
Proving that all
record.
you motherfuckers out there have no taste.
Well, I guess
I
that's
blame
the
all of
thing
you.
about. I
No.
want to blame the audience, but also, but then again, Disney did figure out what people are gonna pay to see,
Yeah.
right?
No, they've if anyone knows and understands the system, it's Disney. They have it down to a
Okay.
T. That's why they can put out movies
Yeah.
of
On
varying
that
quality. We'll say that.
Yeah, so and by the way, so this was 2017. What's the next one? I'm
That
drawing
would
a blank.
be Winnie the Pooh with Christopher Robin. Did you see this one?
Oh, I did you see this one or not?
I did not. I couldn't.
I okay, that's interesting. I will say that I saw that one, not in theaters, but I did. Why couldn't you?
Winnie the Pooh, like that's a thing that. All right, so Winnie the Pooh holds a bit more special place in my heart personally, because
Okay,
that's a film me and my mom would watch together a lot, like all the different Winnie
okay,
the Pooh films. She loved it. That was her favorite character. Loved
fair
them.
enough. Hmm.
And Christopher Robin came out and she just didn't like the live action nature of it and did not want to go watch it, did not care for it. She liked it more as the animation, which I get that. I understand that. And so
I
I
get
just
it.
never bothered because it just like, it would be something if I watched it, I would have watched it with her. And, because again, that was her thing. That was the thing she loved to do. And I didn't mind doing it with her. I enjoyed it. It was always fun. But
Mhm.
yeah, she just was not for her that it was live action. She did not enjoy that fact. She looked at some of it. It's like, I don't like this. Like, it's not bad. I just don't like it. It's just too different, which again, I get it. So never watched it and
Uh,
just couldn't.
so I
And
will
now
say
definitely
that
won't.
yeah, so I saw it, and yeah, this kind of goes back to the Alice in Wonderland problem, the
Hmm.
Maleficent problem. That they tried, and I co- and I come and again, I will say that again. If you tied me to a chair and you told me you need to watch three of those, beginning to end again, I'll put this one on the list.
That's fair.
But for the record, there are still some parts about it that how do I say this? Okay, the idea of doing I'm not sure if it was done in any of the Winnie the Pooh books. Like, was it ever like a thing of like a grown-up Christopher Robin coming back to the
I don't think so. There might have been, but I don't think there was.
I know that there was a book called Return to the Hundred Acre Wood. It's not by
But
the original author,
I don't think he
but
was
I
grown up
don't.
either though in that one.
Yeah, but I don't think it. But then there are kind of like implications. Like I was talking about this with my friend Jaya, who would probably rip into this movie if she were here. But she hasn't seen it, but she would rip into it just because of this. Because to those who don't know the original story of the original Christopher Robin, if to those who don't know, apparently people like those exist. Winnie the Pooh was based on the A. Millen's actual boy named Christopher Robin,
Hmm.
and how he would play with his dolls, in a forest that was near their home. That was the basis for the story. And to those who also don't know, the real Christopher Robin didn't really like Winnie the Pooh all that much.
Yeah.
Like in retrospect,
Yeah.
he
No.
hated it.
Yeah.
He hated it because he was bullied for it. He would constantly be compared to it. He hated Winnie the Pooh, and he also kind of came to resent his father for it.
Hmm.
But when he grew up, he ended up getting married to his cousin, and with his cousin, he had a daughter. He had a daughter who, I think it was polio that she had. I think it was polio. She had some sort of a disease,
Hmm.
and so the reason I'm mentioning this is because in this movie, Christopher Robin has a wife and a daughter.
Yeah.
And I guess it rubs it the wrong way that you give the fictional Christopher Robin the same family the real one had, but you remove the imperfections.
Hmm.
Like because obviously Disney won't have two cousins falling for each other, right? Disney
Yeah.
won't
No.
have
No.
a sick kid, right?
Well,
And for
sick
the
kid they'll do, but two cousins falling for each other, definitely not.
Yeah, so but you realize where the the wrong kind of vibes come from when you because this is not like, oh, we're making stuff up with the source material. You're representing a real person here.
Hmm. And
Uh,
I mean,
so anyway,
I like. There's
I
nothing
have
I can add. Like you're representing a real person. Yeah, I agree. There's nothing much I
uh,
can add to that point.
for the record, because you said your mom really liked Winnie the Pooh and she didn't want. What did you and her think when you saw the designs
I
for
mean,
the costume?
again, she thought that was fine. I think I remember want to remember her saying like Tigger looked really weird. Like
He
he,
is.
I mean yes, but he looked very again like it's very superficial, right? I get that, I understand that. You don't judge a movie just by its looks, but she was that type of person. Like if she didn't like it by the poster image, probably wasn't going to go see it. Some stuff she would do that for. It's just who she was. I get that, but yeah, like a lot of it, she saw the poster image, and I saw her, and I think I might have showed her the trailer, and she's like, just kind of shrugged and like, no, no,
Mhm.
I'll stick with the old
Yeah.
ones. I'm like, fair enough.
Mhm. No, because listen, when I saw the trailer, like the original trailer, and I saw how Pooh looked, the first thing I said, well, I'm impressed. They made Winnie the Pooh creepy, and for the what, give them, they did kind of not necessarily the same level, right? But they did kind of do a Sonic on it, and he looks less creepy in the final film,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
uh,
I remember
because
myself kind of like not liking it, but it never stuck out to me as much. But then when she pointed it out, I was like, yeah, it is a little off-putting too.
Yeah, they only did it with the Pooh, like because they get Tigger looks weird and like, but the other one, like a Piglet and Neo look fine.
Yeah, they
I
look
think a
fine.
Rabbit also, everyone, and honestly, the CG itself is good, but
Yeah, there's
uh,
again,
so,
the CG in all these films hasn't been bad by any means. It's just
mhm. We'll get to some later, but
eh.
now, for when it comes to Christopher Robin as a movie, though, so forget the fact that you made an actual person's family more perfect than it was in real life. Forget that the dolls looked a bit creepy and all that. One of the things that I want to praise, though, and that's honestly one of the reasons I could get through this one. I am at least glad they cast Jim Cummings as Pooh and Tigger again.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Because, listen, say Jim Cummings is those characters at this point. He's not just the replacement for the originals. He is those characters, especially Pooh. Like he is this character by this point, and like he's given such bad lines to work with. Okay, he's like there's a point, a bit before Pooh meets the adult Christopher Robin, and there's a point where like he finds like a bench and he says like and he says like something like, "Oh, I'm really tired, and this looks like a bed," and like it's not a good line. It's not a good line at all. But there's something about the way he said it. there's something about the way that he conveys it, that like you can feel the wheels turning inside that stupid bear's head.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like there's some he has the talent to take lines like this and actually make them work. And again, like Jim Cummings is just mwah, beautiful person. Love him. And he's the main reason I decided to buckle down and actually give this movie a shot because, you
That's
know,
fair.
he's those characters.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing you can do about it. But then everyone else sounds completely off. But what can you do? But anywho, by the way, maybe it's good for Rabbit because the current voice for Rabbit is the same guy that does SpongeBob, and he does the exact same voice. So,
Mm-hmm.
Tom Kenny, I love you, but why is it the same voice? So, anywho, back to the movie. There's something I kind of like about the idea of Christopher Robin, growing up and losing his childhood,
Yeah,
right?
it's a good idea, and I think it's an interesting idea that you can do really well with Winnie the Pooh, right?
Hmm.
In terms of that. And
Yeah,
from what
and
I've understood about people saying in regards to the film and just talking about the film itself, they didn't do bad at that, as far as I'm aware.
it, it's not that they necessarily did bad, but it's more. I guess it's more that they did. I guess the bare minimum, like
They didn't
they
really
had
do anything regarding
they,
like,
they have a good setup,
yeah,
but the way it and because you have this like Christopher Robin is now another woke adult who there's this entire thing where he promised his family he'll take them away for a weekend vacation, but now his boss gave him a job to do, so he can do that. So
yeah, it
he
feels very
sends them on their own
bland, right?
and so he sends them off on their own while he stays at home to walk. And then, like, by sheer coincidence, he finds Pooh. And then, because Pooh needs to get back home, he ends up going to the same place his family is. And then, like, in the 100 Acre Wood, there's like this thing where he kind of tells Pooh to get lost, and then he finds the other ones, and along the way, he kind of finds his childhood again.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like this big car chase to get him back, to get him to these papers to him, so he could go in there. But then, like, they kind of end up pulling his supervisor out because he's an idiot or some shit. And then they all have tea together at the 100 Acre Wood.
Happy ending, yay!
Like again, it annoys me because there's something there. There's a good idea at the core of all of this. It's just maybe this was rushed.
Mm. Yeah, it definitely feels like it doesn't feel like what's the word I'm looking for? It feels very bland. It feels very. I've not seen it, but based on your explanation, based on your explanation, it feels very bland and like, yeah, they did it, that either they didn't have enough time or that they just didn't get the chance to really do anything in regards to Winnie the Pooh with it, because it feels like Winnie the Pooh is kind of an afterthought on this film.
Hmm. Which fair, it's not Winnie the Pooh, it's Christopher Robin,
I
but
guess, but I don't know. It doesn't sound good. It feels like I didn't miss anything from missing this one.
it's not bad, but it's not good either.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think you're going to hear that a lot
So
about a lot of the Disney rec films. It's not bad, but it's not good either.
I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Although I'm sure we're gonna get to the ones where I'm legit mad at this. Uh, what's after?
Dumbo. I remember being kind of excited for this one because it's Tim Burton and
Have,
it's Dumbo, and Dumbo's a little weird and a little and like should
haven't
go right along with his style. But then the CGI started coming out, and it's like, yeah, this is good CGI, but it doesn't look as good as the animation. Like, man, I remember talking about this, like the pink elephant scene. If they can nail that with this, with Tim Burton, it'll be great. More kids getting more nightmare fuel at a young age. Let's go. And it's just meh. It's just meh. That's it. It's just meh. It's not like, it doesn't compare. And I again, right? I don't think there's any way it could have compared, but it didn't feel like they did anything that really stood out with it either, which is the problem. And that's kind of Dumbo, in my opinion, in a nutshell. It doesn't really do anything that really stands out. And then when you start looking back and you're like, hey, let's, do some comparison images. Let's, compare and contrast. Then you start looking at it and it's like, man, the animation made all these different things look a lot better, which I get that might be harsh, to a live action film because there's things that it can't do that animation can. But just meh. Walked away feeling very meh.
I haven't seen this one because I've heard from other people exactly what you just described. So the one thing I did
I
want to
think
see,
I think most people are like me. They came into this one like Tim Burton, all right. They remember Dumbo, and it's like, hey,
that's the thing
this
because
should
like
be a great combination.
because
Nothing
I told
came
them
of
I
it.
don't hate the original Dumbo, not at all. But it's also like one of those movies that like it exists.
Yeah, it's definitely a take it or leave it film for many people, which I get that. I don't, begrudge anyone. It's not my favorite Disney film either. But I remembered liking it a lot for some of the different animated scenes you get in it. Like the pink elephant scene is great. I love that scene. Nightmare Fuel, let's go. And then other scenes in it that are great, wonderful stuff. Let's ignore the, little bit of racism off to the side. No, again, like completely understand why people don't like that. But I was interested to see how they would do it differently. And I was interested to see, hey, this is Tim Burton. I remember what he did with Alice in Wonderland. That was really interesting. I liked a lot of, like, it wasn't perfect, but I did like a lot of that. He was able to make it look interesting in CGI, right? Or in, live action. And then we get to this one and it's just, again, it's just meh. There's nothing here that really, I think, it feels like they put Tim Burton on this as a name, but then didn't let him do any of his Tim Burton-y things, unfortunately.
I'll tell you what, the one thing I have seen from this movie, I had to. I guess that even people who didn't see this had to, because again, like I said, the original Dumbo is the movie that I've seen. I enjoyed as a kid, but I never really felt complied to rewatch it.
Yeah,
Right?
fair.
But so the one thing everyone knows from this movie, though, the pink elephants.
Yeah, yep.
So when I heard Tim Burton, Dumbo, I'm like, I have to see how they do the fucking pink elephant.
I was the exact same way.
I have to see the scene how Tim Burton did the pink elephant. So once I looked it up, and I was like, this is no way did Tim Burton directed this. No way did Tim Burton, one of the most beloved and arguably one of the best directors in Hollywood, would approve of a sequence so
Bland.
forget bland, so unprofessional. Like the amount of reused shots, the amount of nothing in there. Like you have Tim Burton doing the pink elephant. This is what you come up with. I was keep in mind when this was happening, I was still in film school. I was still working on my degree. I made more professional shit than this. This was embarrassing.
It was Bubbles. That's what we got, Bubbles. I mean, it was Bubbles in the animated film too, but man, those Bubbles had heart. Bubbles in this CGI film.
Also, Dumbo doesn't get drunk. 0 out of 10. Okay, but on a serious note, but like on a serious note, just the way it's shot, edited, the way it's shown. This was I don't mind that it's Bubbles, right? It was Bubbles in the original too.
Yeah.
But the thing is, there's not even a focus on the bubbles. There's not even a focus on the trippy side of it. It's just another circus. It's just another
circus act, and it's not even a great circus act.
Yeah, and again, in terms of filmmaking, it's like I can't even begin to describe how baffled I was to see Tim Burton, reusing shots in the same sequence. Dude, you're Tim Burton. I had my best friend wants to be like you, and this is the inspiration you serve. I think I haven't seen the full movie in full, but this entire thing just made me legit angry.
I mean, the rest of the film won't make you angry. You'll just be disappointed.
I
You'll be
guess.
disappointed until you get to the pink elephant scene. Then you'll be angry, and then it's just like, and then the anger will subside because it just goes back to disappointment again.
Whoop-de-doo, when would
Dumbo
my
in a nutshell, disappointment. Animated film, go watch it. It's way better. Could hear that
yeah.
one a lot too if we wanted to. Go watch the animated film.
Let's be
It's better.
honest, this should be like the DVD tagline for all of those remakes. See the animated one, it's better.
It's true though.
So
I mean, again, I want to give credit to the ones that at least try, right? Like I didn't watch
yes,
Christopher Robin,
yes.
but you talking
Uh,
about, hey, Christopher Robin tried to do something different.
and again, I want to appreciate it, but then when it just completely fails to do it well,
I think so far, I just want to point out there's like, I think 3 here that we've said overall. Yeah, these are okay. These are decent. Christopher Robin, The Jungle Book, and Alice in Wonderland have so far been like the only 3.
you know something. If you told me 13 years ago that Alice in Wonderland would be like at the top of my list for something,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
all
Well,
right.
I think Cinderella
So
might be at the top of your list. You tend to you seem to like it a little bit more.
maybe if it wasn't for Christopher Robin, maybe.
Mm,
But
fair, fair.
hmm.
Now,
Anyway, also
the most
because Winnie the Pooh is something I'm more attached to than Cinderella.
that's fair.
But,
Absolutely fair. Completely agree. Now,
yeah.
the best one. 2019. Aladdin.
Okay, so you know what? You say this as a joke, but I would say that if I had like on top of my list, if I had to pick one that I think I'm like, okay, I can give it the most credit. I can give it the most. I don't hate this. I don't. It's Aladdin.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like again, I say it as a joke, but I actually agree. Aladdin was it tried and it came out decent. Maybe even good, but again, I'll
I
go watch
can't
the
go
animated
that
version.
far. I can't go that far. Like the thing that annoys me with Aladdin is that for every one step it takes forward,
It takes
there
like
are two
yeah,
there are 2 or 3 steps back.
maybe 4, maybe
And
5 somewhere here or there, but yeah, like it's
before uh, okay, so what do you like about it? Let's
I
start
mean,
with this.
I know some people had issue with it, but I liked Will Smith as Genie. I thought he was a good fit. I
You
think,
see, Will Smith as the genie is what I mean with one step forward, 3 back.
yeah,
Because when Will Smith does his take,
yes,
when
when he does
he's
his
cool,
thing, yes,
when he's cool and suave, and not being a creepy blue abomination of hell,
I
he's
will
great.
just ignore that part.
But that's the thing, you can't, because that's the
I
other
want to though.
where they want to make him Robin Williams. And you can't make him Robin Williams. He even said that when he was originally pitched the role, he said, hell no, because I can't be Robin Williams.
hmm
He only took it because they promised him he could do his own thing. And they
And they
and
kind of let him do his own thing, and then they
yeah,
said, "Yeah,
and
no,
like
pull it back. We're not letting you do your own thing. Do
yeah,
Robin Williams thing."
but then like no, we need to put him on the creepy blue body. We need to make him do the Robin Williams shtick. And for the record, I get to just say that a friend like me is probably my favorite Disney song. Like
Mhm.
depends on my mood, but it's in my top 3 easily.
Fair.
I love a friend like me. So, and I did enjoy his rendition of it, but the sequence where it happens, besides the fact that giant head Will Smith and a bunch of them together dancing around, is creepy and it creeps me out for the record, right? To have billions of blue Will Smiths walking around. If I were Aladdin, I would die of a heart attack right
Like I
there.
said, we could ignore that part. We don't have to bring it back up. No one needs that nightmare fuel. This is what
Um,
Tim Burton. This is what you should have been doing for fucking Dumbo. Where were you at then, man?
but that's the thing that the "Friend Like Me" sequence is actually like the movie suddenly comes to life. And after a bland first half, and then the rest of the movie itself is also kind of not exciting because they want to shoot like the Prince Ali song. They're trying to do it like this big Bollywood number, but it's so little and it's so lame.
It, they tried, bless them. That's all I can say for that one.
Yeah,
It was
and
cool, but then you kind of, start looking at it a bit more, and it's like, man, it just doesn't feel as bombastic, right?
and
They
and
needed
not
so
only
much more.
not only that, but then there's like this thing where the genie like points to the sultan and it's like, we're waiting on you. Come on, join us. And then when the sultan like beats with his hand to the song, they're like, hey, and it's like, what was the point? What was the point of this? What like I get that you're trying to do something new, but again, what's the point?
I feel like that was a reference back to, like, in the animated film where you see the Sultan getting, kind of going along with the song in that film, right? They're doing a little
I
callback to that, but in a different way. But yeah, it's just kind of
But
blind.
then there's also like in the original song, there's the line where the genie goes, "He held your sight was the he held the princess was a sight lovely to see," and then in this they change it to, "He held your princess's heart. Where is she?" Should I mention that this is the version that's gonna make Jasmine, a strong, independent woman who's actually gonna do political shit? And you have a line like this in Hell.
Speaking of Jasmine, I've got
I
nothing.
again,
It's kind of,
oh,
again, they didn't do much with her, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a little bit since I've seen this one.
again, step forward, two back.
Yeah.
Because I do like the idea she's trying to get more involved in the kingdom's decisions, but because
I I want to say I
she's
felt like the actress was trying, like it felt like she was
yeah,
doing
and
good,
definitely.
but it
And
just
again,
wasn't
everything I
giving
say,
anything.
no offense to the actors. The actors are trying their best, but here,
Most of them.
so it's like, okay. You want to give her like something to do in terms of that's great. That's a good idea actually, because Disney princesses, I guess until Moana, somewhat maybe Brave. They kind of had this thing that the princesses were kind of they were the pretty girls, right? They
Hmm.
were they were the pretty girls. We need to market this to girls like princesses.
Hmm.
So I like it when we actually see them do political stuff because being a princess is a political role essentially. So I actually like that Jasmine tries to get into that world, and by the end of the movie she does get it. That I have no problem with. What I do have a problem is that between this point A and point B, there's basically nothing aside from that one song which was added. And for the record, Speechless is a great song. When I heard it on the soundtrack before I saw the movie, I was like, you know what? I actually like this song. This song is actually awesome. So I saw the movie because I won free tickets. And the fucking song is a dream sequence.
Yep.
It's a fucking dream sequence. And
Yep.
after she actually does something thanks to the song, it just makes her a worse damsel in distress. So what did we do here? Like, you have something. You could have done something. And other things, just this is a minor thing, but another part again. Step forward. Jafar also actually came from the streets, and that's how he gets Aladdin's attention. Good idea. Have more of a connection between the hero and the bad guy.
Hmm.
What do
Hmm.
they do with it? Absolutely fucking nothing.
Nothing.
Also, no offense to the actor, but the guy playing Jafar is just not scary at all. Like, he is
Yeah,
not.
he didn't carry it well. I think him and the actor for Aladdin also, they tried, but they just didn't really.
Aladdin's actor, at the very least, had like his physicality that helped him
I
carry
think,
through some of the
like,
things.
I think for Aladdin, for me, it was, there's a, like I don't want to say the first half, but a good portion of the first part of the film, he just wasn't there. It's like there's just something stopping him from getting over the line of, all right, I can see him as Aladdin. And then I feel like after the big song number, right, it feels like, all right, I'm getting more into him as Aladdin now, right? Like it felt like he was getting more into the role, and I was getting more into watching him in the role. But up until that point, it felt like he was a little bit, I don't know yet. You're there, but not quite there. But Jafar, yeah, he was just, again, it felt like the actor was trying, but it didn't feel like it just, compared to Jafar from the animated films, which maybe that's unfair, but it didn't carry the same weight behind him, unfortunately.
I was more intimidated by the freaking Sultan than Jafar.
Right? Yeah,
Something is
the
not
Sultan
right.
was great. David, oh,
No,
I'm not even gonna
and
try
again,
with that
but
last name. I'm sorry.
again, no, but that's another like the Sultan. He was different than the original, but
Hmm.
I actually love the Sultan. I
Yeah, he
like
did.
how
He
the
was
Sultan
great.
was actually competent and not a giant buffoon. I enjoy that, but when he's more threatening than your bad guy, that's a whoopsie.
Fair, fair.
Also, I am not sure what to feel about Jasmine's best friend character. I don't know.
She was okay. Like I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind the concept. I just, what was the point of making her a love interest for the genie? Someone tell me.
Reasons.
Reasons, sure.
I mean,
Um,
they
and
they they couldn't bring back Iago, so I guess they had to do something.
well, speaking of Yago, how lame is it that instead of Jafar turning into a giant snake, we just get like a big Yago chasing them throughout the city?
That was so stupid. I
But
I
one of those things.
laughed at that.
I laughed, but not for the reasons they probably
No,
wanted me to.
no.
Listen, you know what could have been legit funny? If you actually brought Gilbert the Godfrey back. He
Oh,
was
that would have
alive.
been great if it just would have been his voice throughout that for whatever reason. Wouldn't have made any sense, but
Yeah,
it just would have been great. Then I would have
no,
been
but it
like
was
10 out of 10
great.
film.
Yeah, like because imagine like this giant bird with his voice going, "I'm gonna get you." Like that's funny. That would be great. But and again, no offense to Alan Tudyk, but what did he even do as Iago? Does he even say anything?
No, unfortunately. I don't yeah, I don't yeah, nothing. Yeah. No.
So
Nothing.
that was a step forward and a couple back.
Again, like I agree. It's probably one of my more favorite ones here other than The Jungle Book cuz it tried, bless its heart, it tried, man. I would this is probably the one live action remake that I would say I would like to see these people get a sequel or get a second movie to do something with. Maybe adapt the second movie, just do something because I think this is the one that could do it.
I I am not sure, but
I
I
mean, it's
guess
getting a sequel. It's been
is it?
announced that it is, I believe.
Oh, it's been announced. I haven't heard anything though. Like besides an announcement, I haven't heard
Like
anything.
I don't
So
think they're very far in. It's not they've not even announced a director for it yet, so but it's
well,
listed that it is getting a sequel.
well, I guess there's no way to avoid this. The next one.
We can skip this one. It doesn't exist. There's only
Uh,
one Lion King film. There's only, the only Lion King that's ever existed has been the animated version, and that's it.
Wolf, as much as I would love for you to be right about this,
I
we
am
do
right.
need to
I don't know
talk.
what you're talking about. Deny,
Okay,
deny,
honestly,
deny. Yeah, The Lion King. Oh, God, this one. The
so
live action remake.
listen, before we get into this fucking debate, have you seen this one beginning to
Yeah,
end?
I've seen this one beginning to end. And
I
my entire thought is, fucking Christ. One, this is all CGI. This is not live action. Fucking liars. Get a real
the
lion.
only
Have someone
there's
die
only
on set
one
to a real fucking lion, and then we're talking.
the only live action shot is the opening one with the sun.
Hmm. Because I would have, oh, fuck me. I would have respected them more if they would have CGI'd the sun.
That would have been hilarious. But regardless, I just want to say I have only seen clips. I haven't seen the whole
You haven't?
movie, and
My problem with this film.
listen. But the reason I haven't, and I want to stress this, is because The Lion King is my favorite Disney movie, bar none.
I don't think you're
And
gonna find many people who will disagree with that.
despite Disney animation still making, for the most part, great films.
Mm-hmm.
I know that besides Encanto, some of their latest releases were not that good.
Up and down, up and down.
I haven't seen Strange World, but Raya and the Last Dragon can suck
But
anything that you can think of. Fuck that movie.
now we can get
Um,
live action Raya and the Last Dragon.
you know something? If it would actually fix the problems the shitty original had,
Maybe.
who
Like,
knows?
yeah, again, they can't be worse. Oh my god, they could be worse though.
Uh, let's not think about this for a second. But anyway,
That's
so
the
the Lion
awful
King.
timeline. Maybe one day we'll
But
be
like,
there, but
let's
not yet.
the original Lion King, my favorite Disney movie
Mm-hmm.
to this day since I was a kid, and also one of my favorite movies in general. Like
Mm-hmm.
I love this movie. I adore it. I am aware that it's not perfect, but you know what? I don't fucking care. Everything about it that works unbelievably well. So when I say I didn't see this remake, I did it for the sole reason of I know that the remake will never replace the original. There's no way. No way you can replace the original.
Mm-hmm.
But but I was not gonna participate in this. No way was I gonna give money to to something that actually took the spirit of a movie that I love and a lot of other people absolutely love, and just demolish it in the blandest of ways.
Mm.
And from the clips I've seen, I am not even convinced that someone cared. Besides the animators who did wonderful, I am not to bash on
I
the
mean,
animators,
the
but
thing is though is that yeah, they did great with the CGI, but my biggest problem with this film and the thing that turned me off of it so much was you go back and you look at the animated film, the animated Lion King, and there's so much emotion out of those characters.
there's so much emotion, so much life, so much color, and it also feels grand. Like even if you watch it on your phone, you feel the scale of
Mm-hmm.
the original Lion King.
And
You feel the stampede. That's you remember how threatening the stampede
mm,
looks in the original, and what the fuck was this lame ass bullshit in the new one, where there are like gaps between each one of those what's the animal?
oh fuck don't
Uh,
remember.
but you know what I mean
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
That this is the stampede that freaking killed Mufasa. Mufasa could have survived that. Is all I'm saying.
Probably. But I mean, it's just like you said. It's there's no emotion. There's no you don't feel the weight behind anything in the CGI version. And I know some
And
people
they
say, well, you can't
suck.
do that as well with CGI, but you can because there's so many people. I remember seeing so many things come out where people would say, hey, here's this CGI film. And a lot of people would point to something like the Guardians of Gahul, I believe it was, and say, look at the
Yeah,
CGI on the owls in this. Look at everything they do in this film because that film is all CGI as well, pretty much.
yeah.
And
hmm
you can regardless of opinions on the Guardians of Gahul, you can feel the weight, you can feel the emotion
Like
behind the characters.
as someone who thought it was just okay, I felt a lot more connected to it than
Hmm.
anything. And keep it. And again, this is like a one for one remake of of one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, nothing is
So
different. It's just live action.
no, that's the thing, that there are some things that are different, but what's different is that they take like apparently this is something I've seen, that there's after the original in the original, after the title, there's this little moment with the mouse before Scar's park comes down and
Yeah.
grabs it.
Hmm.
So now apparently you have like 2 minutes of this mouse just running around on his daily routine, and it's impressive that they can do that. It's impressive that you can reach
Okay,
that
yeah,
level
that
of
is right.
detail.
Because I remember sitting back thinking, like, you're just showing off at this point, and I get it, right? The CGI looks great, but I don't fucking care.
And even so, when you have this moment, like, Scar just walks out of the freaking dark, when in the original you have this massive, like, and also the circle of life thing, when the title shows up in the original, you're like, wow, that's the Lion King. I am not feeling shit when I'm watching clips. And and then Mufasa's death. I was so scared of how they were gonna do this. I was so scared how they were gonna fuck this up. And you know something, to their credit, they showed me. They managed to make Mufasa's death freaking hilarious. From the fact that Scar fucking bitch slaps him.
Mm-hmm.
Why? What was so wrong with him throwing him off?
It's
What was
just not.
wrong?
It's just not enough, I guess.
And then you have this ridiculous Simba face going, "Ew, that was hilarious. How you made Mufasa's death hilarious, you freaking idiotic monsters."
At least they got James Earl Jones back.
Which don't get me wrong, James Earl Jones, beautiful actor,
Love
right?
the man.
Amazing.
All the hugs.
Like, yeah, and his Mufasa voice is iconic. Nothing could take this away. But now you basically just taking him what was so tragic about Mufasa's death, actually? That Mufasa was a leader at his prime in the original. And here, it sounds like he's like with the he has one leg in the grave already. Like he's tired in this one.
Well, are you talking about Jones?
And Jones's performance in general, because he's
Well,
obviously older. Not
I mean,
blaming him.
no. You have to remember Jones died before this film came out.
Did he?
Yeah, he died in 2016. This came out in 2019. So all of his
Really?
lines are just front pulled from the original film.
Wa- uh, really?
Yeah.
Because some sound way too different to have been, from what I've heard anyway. I have no idea. Hold on. I had no idea.
Yeah, I believe he died in 2016.
But that kind of
Wait, no, I'm stupid. That's his spouse died in 2016. Fuck me, I'm a dumbass.
Yeah,
I'm killing James Earl Jones.
For the love of God, well,
Wikipedia lied to me. I read the wrong thing. No, James Earl Jones is still alive. I'm wrong. Yeah, they got him back. God, I feel stupid. His lines are written the same, but yeah, his conveyance isn't the same. Fuck me, I cannot. It's early in the morning for me. Okay, leave me alone. HC gets me up way too early to record these because time difference. I blame HC.
I asked if you're okay with this. I asked if you're okay with this. You give me
I am okay with this because now people can laugh at me. And now if James Earl Jones does die, well, I know whose doorstep they're going to be coming to.
Okay. Please, no.
I'm predicting it here and now.
Okay, but the point is that he sounds so tired, so old, and so then when he does, it's just like if anything, Skull kind of did what you did, and that's not delaying the inevitable. So
I am the Scar.
So it makes that a lot less tragic, and then there's this entire thing when Nala goes to find help and she finds Simba. You know how she was so happy to see her childhood friend figuring out that he's alive and everything. Here it's in the original, and then they have this song and stuff, and in the original it's like, Simba, you're alive? Well, we need to go. We need to go home. Emotion. I know that it's Beyonce and everything, but emotion.
I have nothing to add. This film is just bad. It's just bad. Some of the actors and actresses tried, but it's just bad. I don't want to hate on the animators, but it's just bad.
Yeah. No, the animators, God bless them.
God bless
everything
them for
else.
making, the CGI. They did a great job, but I'm just gonna say, could done
By the
better.
way, this one is getting a prequel.
Yeah, I know. They're making more of this one. Because you
The
fuckers went and
Mufasa, the
watched
Lion
this one in
King.
theaters. It's all your fault again. All of this is your fault. You, audience member watching right now, I'm looking at you. I'm
To
talking to you.
quote, to quote one of the Disney animated movies, that was his mistake.
I mean, I can't say nothing. I also went and watched this, so I'm also at fault. But I had to. I had to
So
know. I had to know.
well,
And I regret knowing.
So two last things about this fucking movie. One, they changed the "you forgotten who you are" scene.
Mm-hmm.
That I just saw that, I'm like, no, you can't take that out. You took the heart of the movie if you take it out.
But
No
they
way.
did. But they did.
They did, and I want to take something else from them. So, and the other thing, this is just a funny story. When this movie came out, there was this movie critic on TV who came on the news to review it. She got, a press screening, and she said, "That's the new Lion King. How was it?" And then the critic was like, "Yeah, it was great. It was amazing. It was the Lion King. It was good." And then the woman hosting the show asked her, like, "What's different between the original and this one?" And the critic said, "I actually don't know. I fell asleep in the middle of the movie."
Great review. Listen, I said it before in our last episode. I stand by it. I would have respected you more, Disney, if you just would have said it's the Lion King and it was just a nature documentary narrated by David Attenborough. If you just would have put that out in theaters, I would have respected you for it more, because it would have been the greatest ass pull in the world, and I would have loved you for it. But you didn't do that.
A lot of people said that, and it's like, they would say, "Oh, it's too risky," but it's like, you know what? Make it risky.
I would have.
Everyone knows the Lion King.
I would have respected them more for it. It wouldn't have even been the Lion King. It just would have been, hey, we're going to do a nature documentary of some lions and maybe some other animals in there, and it's just going to be all narrated by David Attenborough, and that's it. That's all you had to do. I would have respected you for that shit.
No, but like, do the leave the animation, keep the talented people in there, but just, don't do the stupid dialogue, don't repeat the story bit for bit. Make it look as if it was a nature documentary. It would have been hard, but it could have worked.
I think they should have released a nature documentary, just filmed that and released that, and that would have been it. Just a nature documentary is what they should have released. It would have been the greatest ass pull. Just, again, it's just a nature documentary, but you market it as it's a remake of The Lion King, and you just don't say anything, and everybody goes, and everybody just watches a damn nature documentary. I would have loved them for it. All the respect in the world if they would have done that, but they didn't.
One final thing about this piece of shit is that in 2019, like in the year it came out, I went to visit a friend in the UK, and it was around the time the Blu-ray and DVD were out. So, and we went into the store, and the first thing I literally saw, like as soon as we walked into the store, the first thing was actually like a bundle of the original Lion King and the remakes all together, and I'm like, fuck you. So what was after that? I know there was another thing in 2019.
There was the Maleficent sequel.
Oh, that's what it is?
Well, that's not the only one. There was the other one that I think they just ninja released because they knew that there was no way, and that is Lady and the Tramp, because I think it got released on Disney Plus, and that was it.
Yeah, that was like a Disney Plus thing.
This one was like, I heard it was out, and I'm like, wait, what? When did they get that? Yeah. I was like, oh yeah, it released on Disney Plus. I'm like, there was nothing for that. They ninja released that shit so hard.
Yeah, again, like you said, ninja released, and again, Lady in the Tramp is a movie like I've seen at plenty when I was a kid, but I don't.
I got nothing for this one other than I didn't hear anything good, but I also just didn't hardly hear anything at all either.
I didn't hear anything. It's just the thing there. It's like, oh, it's out, okay. And
now,
then I forgot about it.
When we get into 2020 with the next one, this one I heard a lot about, and that is Mulan. Ugh.
All I'm gonna say, you remember everything I just said about the Lion King? Uh, Basically, one to one, what my girlfriend thinks of Mulan.
It's bad.
Like,
It's bad.
like the original is one of her favorites, and this one is just she didn't even see it because she just feels betrayed by what she did here.
I completely understand.
And I haven't seen this one, but again, it's stuff I've heard. For the record, there's a YouTuber. Let me look up their name just to make sure.
Hmm. Well, oh,
Okay. Shiran J. Zhao. I think that's how you pronounce their name. Great YouTuber. Check them out. They did a
well, send me
movie.
the
They
link
did
in the
a
description below.
Yeah. They did an entire video about the 2020 Mulan, right?
Hmm.
And I just my girlfriend linked them to me like 10 minutes before we started. Around 10 minutes, like a bit before we started, less than an hour before we started this podcast. And I couldn't even get into like 5 minutes of the video. Like the first 5 minutes just annoyed me. The first 5 minutes, I'm just like, no way they're this stupid. No way this was approved. Why Disney is this dumb? And I ended up not finishing the video. Like, no offense to the YouTuber, they're great, but
I understand.
wow.
It's a bad film. It's a
Have you
very
seen
bad
it?
film. I've seen parts of it. I couldn't be bothered after like I've seen like a good bit of the ending, and I've seen some of like in between there, and I've seen some of the beginning. I just couldn't be bothered to watch the whole thing. After I want to say like Aladdin, I gave him a shot with. Lion King, that was morbid curiosity. I went to see that one. I gave them money for that one. I won't lie. I regret it. After that point, I was like, nah, I'm done with you. I'm not again. You won't get me
Yeah,
again. I
doesn't
like
also
Mulan too
doesn't
much. You won't get me again. And then
and
I looked it up online, watched some like different scenes from it here or there. I'm glad I didn't. They didn't get me with that one, and I'm glad I didn't.
I was actually kind of excited for this one because I've seen things like when I saw the I'm like, okay, they're actually respecting, Asian cinematography and Asian
The trailer,
filmmaking.
the trailer
And
sells it so well, and then you get it, and you're like, you
yeah,
lied to me.
yes, exactly.
I was lied
So
to. But I'll
so
admit
that's
that trailer, it sold it really well. It sold it fairly well, I would say. Like if you watch
too
the
bad it
trailer,
sold us a shit film.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah. If you watch the
at least
trailer and you're like, I'm interested in this remake of Mulan, this might be good. If you were hopeful, I understood that. I get it because that trailer lied hard.
yeah.
And
I
that's not
will.
even getting into like the controversy behind this film with Disney and China and just
Yeah.
all that bullshit. Just fuck you,
Honestly,
Disney. You suck.
yeah.
Sometimes, most of the time, you suck. Why? We want you to be good. Why can't you be good?
And there is one positive thing about it. At least Mulan 2 is no longer the worst thing that happened to Mulan.
Yeah. I mean, I
For
guess
the
that's
rec-
if there's ever a silver lining, I guess that is one. Mulan 2 is better than this film. Never
and
would have
for
heard anyone say it, but
and
here you go.
for the record, Mulan 2 is beautiful if you're looking at it as a bad movie.
Oh yeah, no, if
Like
you're looking at it as a bad movie, it's great. It's wonderful. Because it's horrible. Go into that thing with some friends and drunk and you'll love it. Because it's
definitely.
great. But as an actual, if you're here like, hey, Mulan, I love Mulan, don't watch Mulan 2. If you love Mulan, don't watch this one. And again, like I want to say, like I love the fact that they got some of the actors and actresses they did. Some of them were trying, but it's just, oh man. I feel like if this wasn't a Mulan film, we would walk away saying, yeah, that was all right. I wouldn't mind a sequel to this. Maybe they could do more with it. But it's meant to be a Mulan film because it is Mulan. And just, no. Bad. Go away.
Yeah. So what happened after Mulan? I honestly,
After Mulan, it was Cruella.
all I needed to hear is that a Dalmatian killed their mother. That's all I need to know to stay away.
I mean, you say that. I love that shit. I think this is also one of those so bad it's good films, personally. I think if you go into this one expecting a bad film, you'll walk away like, I had fun with that. I had fun with
That's
I
I
didn't watch all of this one, I'll admit. I couldn't finish it. It just kind of meh after a bit, but I will admit there were quite a few scenes in this one where I laughed my ass off. The Dalmatian killed her mother. I laughed my ass
no
off.
listen. When people told me, I heard people say that, and I'm like, no way, no, this is a joke. This is a joke. No way, this is
You wish,
real.
motherfucker.
Yeah. Apparently, I wish because that's what happens, and I'm like, oh, like it sounds like a parody.
It's
It sounds like
so
a freaking
stupid. It's so
parody.
dumb, but you know what?
Like the Dalmatian killed their mother.
I
It's like
give them credit. I did not expect to go into Corolla expecting to get, my entire world flipped upside down, but they did it.
again, it's kind of like playing into like the entire wicked thing that you don't need to go to an extreme in order to make a bad guy seem more sympathetic and shit. You don't need to do that.
But
The
you know
Dalmatian
what?
killed her.
I'm glad they did for this one. A Dalmatian killed her mother. A Dalmatian killed her.
That
It's so stupid, but it's just beautiful in its
yeah, no,
stupidity.
listen, that's just I haven't seen it. Not really interested. Maybe again, if I can convince my girlfriend because I've
This
done
is
this
one of the
before. Like,
ones I would go out and watch, but again, I highly recommend go into it expecting a terrible movie
yeah,
and
that's the thing.
maybe even get a little bit drunk. You'll love it.
Considering considering I managed to convince her to watch Don't Worry, Darling as like a bad movie that we can have fun. Maybe I can convince her to do that as well.
This one's
But
it, it's
and if
okay
not,
for that purpose.
and
Like
if
I think
not,
there are
I
better
can
bad
probably.
films, but this one's pretty decent.
If not, I might be able to convince our friend Haddock to do it because listen, a Dalmatian killed her mother. Like, for the
Dalmatian
love
killed
of
her
God.
mother. It's so great. It's
The
so
fact
great.
somebody got paid to write that, somebody got
Listen,
paid
someone
to.
was in the right. They were in the writing room. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, they were in the writing room, and everybody's like, "All right, we need to come up with something for this one. Something that really throws people. What's gonna really make a mark on people with Cruella? We need to leave that mark." And someone in the writing room's like, "What if a Dalmatian killed her mom?" Just threw it out there. They didn't think much of it. They were just kind of
No,
spitballing.
listen,
And the
you
director's there like, genius. This is the
no,
thing. This is it.
listen, Wolf. Do you remember? Do you know the story of the death of Superman from the comics?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure. So the thing is that back the thing that originated that idea was in the DC room. They were kind of thinking, what can we do with Superman? And some guy just jokingly say, kill him, and they started laughing. And after like the fifth time he said it as a joke, they're like, hmm. And that's how the story came to be. I am willing to put money. This is how it happened.
Oh,
Somebody
guaranteed.
said
100%.
Somebody said a Dalmatian killed her mother as a joke, and that's it.
And they all
That's
laughed
and
and they're like, that should have been the end of it. But they're like, wait a minute. I mean, I give them credit.
they went,
It's funny.
I don't think they wanted to be funny though. This is supposed to be a reason
No, they
for it
didn't.
that she's supposed to be
But
killed to kill puppies.
but you know
Why
what?
would I say?
I'll take what I get from Disney live action remakes at this point. If it's between being funny for
just-
all the wrong reasons or just Mulan / The Lion King, I'll take funny for all the wrong reasons. At least I get something out of that. At least I'll never forget Cruella because a Dalmatian killed her fucking mom. Mulan, I'll forget that shit. Lion King, I'll forget that shit. It don't mean anything.
Yeah, but like this one left a mark.
This one left a mark.
I agree.
I
Yeah.
give it credit. For that reason alone, I give it credit.
Well, anyway, what happened after Cruella?
The last one we have had released so far has been Pinocchio, and that's been it. I have not seen this one either. It came out late last year, and I did not get the chance to see this one.
All I know is that apparently, like, somehow last year we had like the 3 animated Pinocchio movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Like the one I still need to see. I heard it's really good. The Polish show one, enough said. And then this one apparently Pinocchio actually looks at the literal pile of shit.
Yeah, I've heard Pinocchio doesn't look good in this one. Yeah, I think the one I remember hearing a lot of people talk about was Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio version. Like I think that's
Well,
the one everybody
obviously.
liked. But yeah, it's Guillermo del Toro, so what do you expect? But yeah, this is another film where I didn't hear much about it other than
Like
Guillermo del
it
Toro's.
went, like it came, and when it came out, people talked about it. They said it's not particularly good. I haven't seen because let's say that I remember really liking the original Pinocchio, but I haven't seen it in years, so
Mm,
I'm not sure how well it holds up. But point of the matter is, I didn't really care, and it's a Disney live action remake going straight to Disney Plus, so I didn't really feel any rush to see this.
fair,
So I didn't.
fair, absolutely fair. At this point, absolutely fair. I suppose we could do a little bit here at the end. Some upcoming Disney live action remakes.
I know Lilo and Stitch one is coming out, and I
There's a
am for
Lilo
it.
and Stitch one. Fuck me. No, go away.
Yeah.
No. No, it is. They are coming out with one. Fuck. They even have it all set up too. There's a director. Fuck me. Just sigh at you, Disney. Just sigh at you. Maybe I don't want to see Lilo and Stitch live action.
No, actually, funny thing
I
about it,
feel like that's
there's
just not a film you can. I because yeah, again, right? Should point out, The Sword and the Stone is another one that I think, and they're doing a live action of that one too. I feel like Lilo and Stitch and The Sword and the Stone are two films that are so intrinsically a thing because of the animation. I really don't think either of those films you can translate to live action at all. You have to do something completely different with it, but we know they're not. So those are going to be bad films. Those are going to be so bad, such terrible films. Maybe Lilo and Stitch will come out and genuinely shock and surprise me, but I do not
I
believe it.
doubt it.
However, more
Uh,
more close to us though is the Little Mermaid live action remake.
which honestly, like for the record, people ask me, I think it was my best friend who asked me like what I think about the fact that Ariel is black, and I'm like, listen, I'm sure it's great for the kid. I'm sure she's gonna have a great career after this, and it's gonna open her doors. But she's not gonna be the thing that's gonna make it or break it.
Yeah, I think one thing that might make it or break it, or at least might make or break his career, is Lin-Manuel Miranda wrote some new songs for this.
That's the one thing I'm kind of excited about. David Diggs as Sebastian. Those two, I'm like, okay, you know what? When it's on Disney Plus, I'll give it a chance. But
Fair enough. Like there's a few things in it that maybe, but I mean, it's just for me personally,
that's
I
the
can't
thing,
trust
though.
them.
That listen. If you showed me that trailer and told me all of this stuff when it was like maybe that third live action remake or something, if we didn't have Beauty and the Beast and we didn't have
More specifically, if we
Lion
didn't have
King.
Lion King and Mulan at this point, yeah,
Yeah,
I'd be more
just
interested.
all of them. If it was like one of them, I'm like, okay, willing to give this a shot because I would also be like, you know what, maybe they could do the original ending to the story, but they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Now,
Hmm.
another one that I wanted to briefly bring up was Peter Pan and
Hmm.
Wendy, and I just want to
Honestly, I
say,
don't see the point. I don't see the point because in 2003 Disney did a live action Peter Pan.
yeah, it's called Hook.
No, not Hook, not
But
Hook.
but I
Like
mean,
Hook.
they did this already, yeah. But I also want to say we already have live action Peter Pan, and it's called Hook, and
No,
with
there was
Rob.
another one in 2000. There was another one in 2003.
Yeah, but I know
So
that. What I'm saying though is we've already had our live action Peter Pan with Robin Williams, and you can't beat that. So just don't,
yeah.
just don't.
Yeah, I think actually, yeah, that's kind of thing that if you're going to make a live action Peter Pan, people are going to compare it to Hook
Yeah,
at this
like you
point.
can't. Yeah, like I feel like everyone's gonna go into that like and come out. Maybe they'll do great. wish them all the best, but a Hook exists, and you can't beat Hook at this point. I don't think. I don't think you can do anything better than Hook because Robin Williams was and is amazing. So,
Mhm.
you know,
But I think I'm not sure if there are others that are like. Actually, I think there's a movie announced about like the Queen from Snow White with Gal Gadot playing her,
yeah,
which
Snow White's coming out
that
supposedly in 2024, and we're getting
sounds
our
as sounds like they're trying to do another Maleficent. So
mm,
no, thank
and we're
you.
getting, yeah, as you said, the the prequel Lion King with Mufasa.
Yes,
And then there's a few here or there. Apparently, Aladdin's got a sequel. We're getting one for Hercules. I hope,
which
maybe
you
that might
know,
be one of the ones.
hard to say because I tell you what, there are so many Hercules movies these days,
Yeah,
especially in
yeah,
live action, and I'm not entirely sure, but like apparently the Hercules that's in Thor: Love and Thunder is gonna get more focus in the MCU now. So I don't know, but you know something, if we can kind of tangent this into live action remakes that we actually want to see and think we have potential, do you
sure.
have any of them?
I mean, I'm curious about the Aladdin sequel. I liked the first one enough
Well,
that I
ones that are
want to
not
give it a
announced.
chance. The ones that are not
One,
announced, ooh,
no, like something you would like to see, like if they announce it, you're like, okay, I'll be interested to in giving it a shot. Like, yeah, I can see this working.
I mean, huh. You go first, and then I'll go.
So one that I think I would like to see a live action remake to, and I think would be Hunchback of Notre Dame. And I'm saying this as someone who loves the original Hunchback of Notre Dame. Like
That one's
the
also been
the
announced,
original.
by the way.
Oh, is it announced?
Yeah, they have one that's apparently coming out for that.
Well,
Screenwriter is
I
David
hope.
Henry, and they have like some producers behind it and everything. They've just not announced a director yet.
Well, so but basically, as someone who loves Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Disney version, I think this could work. Again, like with the, I know that they're not gonna do like a direct adaptation of the book, right? No way Disney would allow. No way.
Hmm.
But maybe a live action medium could actually help them go a bit more ballsy with it.
It's Disney though.
Mhm. I guess, and like if there's another, so that's one I would be like, you know what? I'd like to see how you do that. And another one, there's another one I think of, but it's a bit too recent, but at the same time, who knows? And also, I'm trying like a big wrench into the gears here. But if you let Kevin Feige do a live action Big Hero 6, I think that could work.
Maybe, yeah, that could be fun. That could actually be fun.
Because yeah,
I
because
mean,
Big Hero
the only
6 is also
thing,
A Marvel property. So there you go.
yeah, but my only thing is as of now, it might be a bit. I don't think it'd be received well. I think it'd have to be a long time in the future from now
Yeah,
because
that's
there's
what
just
I'm saying.
so
I
much
know.
Marvel.
Yeah, not only that. Forget that for a second. I'm also knowing that the original movie is not even 10 years old. So this is what I'm saying. I know that it's like a very long. Although, did they announce a Tangled remake? I could have sworn they announced a Tangled remake.
I don't see anything on here about it, but it just may not be like here yet. But
Well,
I don't know anything
basically,
about it.
but because I think they are at least they are going for the golden era, Renaissance era first, like, and slowly there are other movies, right? Like, well, and on that note, this is like one of my jokey ones. Okay, this is like one of those for make it if you're gonna make it at least so batshit insane that it will be hilarious. Okay.
Okay.
Imagine if they did a live action Fox and the Hound.
I feel like, I mean, they would have to have learned from The Lion King, right? And do better. If they
Mhm.
could, I actually would be interested in seeing them do a live action Bambi or a live action Fox and the Hound.
Actually, I think that's announced. I heard an announcement about it not too long ago.
Yes, Bambi is also announced. Looking at the list, Bambi
Okay.
has been announced. So they are doing one. I'll admit I'm a little bit curious, but The Lion King, it makes me hesitant because again, Bambi, you have to show the emotion and weight behind those scenes because
Let's say it like this. If they make me laugh at Bambi's mother like they did with Mufasa, that will be a freaking achievement.
yeah. I will
Because
say,
it's
I think I have
because,
one that I would like to see a live action remake of. And I think
yeah.
it's one of the few ones that I want to say I feel like there's no way they could fuck it up, but it's Disney at this point. Who knows? And
Okay.
that is oh fuck. Let me find it again to make sure I got the name right. Yeah, Atlantis, the Lost Empire.
Yeah, I was actually I think I talked to it with Data Jaya or my girlfriend. I talked to someone about this. This could have worked.
This is one of those ones that like yeah, I think this could be a live action remake that I would be interested in personally.
Yeah.
I'll also say I think this one and Treasure Planet, but I feel like we already have kind of our live action ish Treasure
Well,
Planet.
Treasure Planet is like the Treasure Island too,
Yeah,
so
go
there's
watch the
that.
Muppets Treasure Island, and you got the best version. So I
Yeah.
mean, because that
No,
movie's
Treasure
great.
Planet, honestly though, Treasure Planet I doubt because it has a bump, but not to
Treasure
disrespect the
Planet,
movie.
I
I love the
liked
movie.
it. I liked it. I thought
No,
it was
I love the
fun.
movie. I love the movie. It's just that, but for Disney, like they look back, this is like one of their biggest failures in terms of profit. So I
Mm,
doubt they'll even touch it.
yeah, but if I had to pick one, Atlantis: The Lost Empire. And I
Mm.
mean, some people might say The Incredibles, but I feel like just go watch any of the Marvel
But
movies at this
but
point.
that's Pixar. But that's also Pixar. Pixar, I guess, safe
And it's
maybe.
technically Disney though at this point.
Yeah, but the point is that I think as long as it's like at least now when Disney owns Pixar, I think there's some sort of like a level of agreement that Pixar needs to give them in
Ah,
order to do
okay.
it. I'm not entirely sure.
You know what? If they gave them the green light, I'm I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to see the monstrosity that would come from it. Live action
Yeah.
remake of Cars.
Don't. But
I
I will
want to
say
see the
this
nightmare fuel.
because no, because listen, I think because I think to kind of close this up, the fact that there's a Bambi remake coming out,
Mm.
that does bring up a good point because what's the one thing everyone thinks about when they talk about Bambi?
Oh, I mean, the mother dying scene. I would assume. I mean,
Yeah, so
like the
I think
emotion there, and how
yeah,
there's no voice acting for that. It's all silent. It's just the
uh,
animation speaking for itself.
not only that, but the thing is somebody said, I don't remember who, but somebody said like that, what gets anyone with the death of Bambi's mother, it's like, it's not that the mother dies, it's that there was a strong connection between her and Bambi.
Mhm.
That's what gets you. That's the thing that crushes your heart. The
Mhm.
connection between the mother and Bambi. So now imagine you're doing a remake. What do you think the director is gonna think? He's gonna think, I need to get this scene and everything before and after, just make it look pretty and marketable.
Yeah, but I mean, the big
And
thing that
but that's the
the
thing.
entire
But
Bambi
that's the thing
movie,
that
right? That is like the quintessential example that people will give when it comes to letting animation just speak for itself, right?
yeah.
It's just letting the animation do the work of telling the story for you. And again, we come back to like The Lion King. We look at that. The Lion King is a big example of letting the animation help tell the story. Yeah, there's a lot of talking and some other stuff going on in The Lion King, but compare that to Bambi, where there's not a lot of talking. There's barely any
Yeah.
musicals in Bambi, musical numbers
Like
in Bambi, right?
like
Like
I just if there are musical numbers, it's okay. The characters don't sing
it's
them. It's
very
like
minor, right? Like Bambi
yeah.
Bambi's very minor in a lot of your kind of Disney tropes that you would see more nowadays, right? Because it came out in 1942. But
Yeah.
Bambi was, or I would say still is, one of the quintessential examples of letting your animation speak for itself. And I assume they're going to
Yeah,
do it all in
that
CGI and claim it's a live action remake again, but they would
I
have to
think,
nail the CGI. They would have
of
to nail it.
course, I agree with you,
If they
but
can, I think they'll do great.
that's the problem, though. I don't think but I don't think they're actually going to use the animation to tell it. But it's like, look what we can do with the animation.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the level of detail. Look at how real this looks. But then when it actually comes down to, the story itself, what's the one thing everyone remembers about Bambi? The mother dies. As long as and honestly, not that I dislike Bambi or something, but honestly, the movie kind of dies for me after the mother dies because I barely remember anything from there after that point. Most of the stuff I remember is like the first act until that point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's fair.
but I think also for most people, it's like not a lot of people actually. I think a lot of people didn't even see Bambi to the end, at least from some of the social groups that I'm a part of.
Fair.
So I did. I just barely
I have.
remember.
It's also been a
So
long time. Yeah. I before we end, there's three things I want to point out. One, I want to ask you: live action remake of Frozen.
it will happen.
I mean,
I
yes,
don't.
it'll
I
happen, but your thoughts, yay or nay? Would you be interested?
Well, listen. If history dictates, then nay, of course.
Yeah,
There's
fair.
like, like because you just uh, to not sound like a grumpy, the Frozen, I know thing, but
Well,
and but
speaking to
basically,
my old man heart over here, HC, I
yeah,
feel
no,
that.
but listen, like I just think that because unlike some not to say Aladdin had the sequels in the TV show and all of that, and Lion King too, but when I guess it's just too fresh in my mind that I think of Anna and Elsa, I think of Kristen Bell and Idina Menzel, I think of Kristoff, I think about Jonathan Groff, I think of Olaf, I think about Josh Gad. Frozen is not old enough by this point, and I'm saying this, and it's gonna turn 10 in a few months when we
Mm,
record this. But it's just one of those things that I don't think it didn't have not enough time had passed. And I guess even though it's older, like Tangled is kind of the same situation where and especially where that they had the show not too long ago, but they are not old enough. And I
mm-hmm.
know it's gonna happen because both Tangled and Frozen are still big hits for Disney, but I just not now. And if you're gonna, but and I know that if they're gonna do it, it's not gonna be good.
Fair. And the last thing,
Also, there was technically somewhat of a live action Frozen, and that's called when they put the Frozen characters in Once Upon a Time, and that was awful.
yeah, I heard about that. I heard very
That
good quote unquote things.
that was atrocious.
Finally, I want a Disney. I mean, you're already starting to do it because guess what? There's been a live action remake announcement for, if you remember it, Robin Hood. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's getting a live action remake. That's got furry bait written all over it, but I'm very curious to see how that one turns out. But because you're doing that, Disney, if you want to make all the money in the world, all you have to,
Are you going where I think you're going? I think
yeah,
I know where you're going.
if your thoughts went to Zootopia, yeah, that's where I'm going.
Oh,
You know it's coming.
no.
They did it for Robin Hood. Robin Hood is going to be the test bed, I guarantee you.
Oh,
Because if you
what
remember
is that?
Robin Hood is all anthropomorphic animals, basically the story of Robin Hood. And that's got a live action remake announcement already. It's got a
But
director, it's got screenwriters, it's got producer already.
I love Zootopia, but no, I hope
It's
people will.
coming. And
I just hope people.
I
No,
Zootopia,
no,
if they
no.
do a live action remake of Zootopia, there's two ways this turns out. This is either on the level of Cats or it's something better. And I don't know what better's gonna look like, man. And I'm scared. Because the other alternative is Cats. And that's scary already.
You told me earlier that we are not gonna put any more nightmare fuel in this, and now I am not gonna sleep for a whole week.
Listen, just imagine live action. Oh fuck, any of those characters. I forget their name. Live action Judy Hopps. Just imagine.
It will be
there
a
is fucking sleep paralysis demon standing at the foot of your bed.
No.
It's coming. That dark future is upon us one day. They've already started. Their test bed is going to be Robin Hood. It's coming. I'm telling you. Get ready. Prepare yourselves. Either the world's going to end first or it's coming.
You know, I can't wait if someone is going to find that podcast after it happens, and they'll be like, they called it like a decade before.
No, they'll blame us for it. They brought it into existence, and I'm okay with that. Because I mean, you know, listen, we've been without, back in my day, when Disney came out with the film, sometimes if you watched it as a little kid, you know, you wondered, you look back on those experiences and say, God, Disney gave me some fucking nightmare fuel as a little kid. Guess what, motherfuckers? You've been without it for too long. It's your time to suffer now. It's your time. And so I'm praying. I'm not, though. I don't want it either. For live action remake of Zootopia. Just because. I mean, again.
I hate you.
This is what I do. This is entirely the reason why I'm here, is to come up with the awfulest of ideas. And hope that by me coming up with it, they realize just how bad it is. But you know it's coming at some point. I'm telling you. They've announced it for Robin Hood. And if they've announced it for Robin Hood, that has to be their test bed of, can we do this and make it work? Because Zootopia is even older than Frozen.
On that note, imagine if they did a live-action movie of Kingdom Hearts.
I'm okay with that. Let's go. I'm curious. Make a movie of that shit. Let's go.
No. Listen, you know that Donald and Goofy are gonna be like a legit dog and dog, right? They want to look like themselves. It'll be a legit dog and dog.
I'm okay with that. Just, how do you do that? A dog, you know, oh, fuck me. I'm curious now. Let's go. Let's go down this rabbit hole.
Let's be honest. It sounds like something Nomura would sign on for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it would be a huge part of the story as well, and like an alternate universe shit somehow.
No. There would be a prequel before.
Yeah, this would be the prequel. Oh, fuck me. I like how we can envision how that would work, and it would just be fit perfectly into the world. Fuck you. Fuck you, Nomura. Fuck you too, Disney. I love you more, Nomura, but still.
I don't know anymore, dude. I don't know.
Listen, we're 2 hours in at this point. This is the kind of shit you get here at the ending.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to end off with live action remake of Zootopia.
Well, I guess with all of that said, that's it for this episode of the Outcast. We hope you enjoyed. What are your thoughts about the Disney live action remakes?
You want it now.
Shut up. And all the ones that happened and all the future nightmare fuel that's gonna happen in the future. You can tell us all about it in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. So until next time, I was HC.
I was Wolf.
And we will see you all next time with probably 0 hours of sleep, thanks to this fucker here. And we'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye. Live action remake of Zootopia.